downtime do you get with your actual senator to talk about a lot of issues? And are you only limited to the issues that on the agenda, or can you talk about anything?
Well, like Ahlam said, it's really good. Like last year, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I should go previously and look up the bills and stuff. I knew the 5 things we were lobbying for, but I didn't know the other bills. So, like I was talking about the ex-con one, I didn't really know that that one was going to be presented. So, it was really good for you guys if you guys just, like Ahlam said, go visit the website, see all the other bills, the IGA. What did you say? IGA?
ILGA.gov.
ILGA.gov. So knowing what kind of bills they're talking about will give you a much better understanding when you're sitting next to your senator. And going back to your question, how much time did I have with the senator? Not much, because they're trying to get as many bills passed at that moment before session is out. So it was really hard for me to talk to her during the session. But I don't know if they changed the program this year a little bit with the senators, did they? No. So you're going to be sitting with your senator for maybe an hour and a half, listening on the discussion, seeing what kind of bills are presented, what they're voting, what they're not voting, why she didn't vote, why she voted. You get to talk, I think, a good 20 minutes with your senator, but you're not there really to promote the stuff like they're lobbying for. You're just really there to you get a feeling of what it was like in the Senate chamber, your experience. It's more like an experience thing. You can tell her like the 5 things, where you come from, because she knows, because you're going to be sending them a paragraph or so, because they introduce every Senate page in the chamber. So that moment right there, it was like, wow, like, you stand up, they formally introduce you, like everyone's quiet in the whole Senate chamber, they formally introduce you to the whole Senate chamber, where you're from, what school, what programs you were, involved in. So that's the involvement, that's where it goes back to. If you want someone to introduce you, you should have like stuff like the NHS program, I don't know if you guys have that, or like, community service, where'd you volunteer? I volunteered at the hospital, at Red Cross, stuff like that. When they introduce you, it just makes you sound better, especially like when I stood up and I'm at a hijabi, and here she is, I'm an NHS student, whatnot, what forth, Again, it paused, everyone's like, wow, so I guess Muslims, they're just like us. Just because she's wearing hijab doesn't mean she's oppressed. She's, standing in between us as we speak. So, I hope that answered your question.
So how many youth are going to apply tonight? How many of you are going to go on the IRGC website and apply for a Senate page position? Young men, are we going to get any young men to apply tonight?
We got 4 sisters already.
Yay, sisters. That's good, mashallah. Anything else?
We still have 20 minutes for discussion, questions. I think one of the questions I have is, again, a lot of people who participated last year are not here today. But when we went there, and it was hard to find our legislators, right? So, is there any change in our program structure this year, where even this question was asked to Samrin Khan also? Is there any change where we can get some time from senators prior to we go there?
Honestly, it's really tough. Right now, they're so, they have set in their mind that we're out of here May 7th. Actually, what you can do is on Monday, call your local legislators, their district office, and tell them, their Springfield offices. If you call their Springfield offices this week, because lobby day is in 2 weeks, from the 22nd, call their Springfield offices, tell them, your name and who you're with, and that we're going to be in Springfield on April 22nd, and I would like to set some time to meet my legislator. So schedule a meeting with them for April 22nd. That way, they know you're coming, and this is a time scheduled to see them. So you can do that as well. If you feel really passionate about actually sitting down with them, the best thing to do would be to schedule a meeting ahead of time, which means call Monday the Springfield office, schedule that meeting. They might not give you a time exactly on Monday, but they'll say, let me get back to you. But at least try.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another question is, for example, we have 5 or 4 issues this year, right? So now, am I talking to my senator or state representative about 4 issues?
Yes. last year, I chose to talk about the 2 issues that I felt were most important. Right? I chose my 2 issues. I gave them the packet with all the issues that we were there to lobby for, but I decided I'm going to choose my 2 topics that I felt very passionate about, right? The first thing I talked about was the Arabic in the schools. The second one was about the environment. And I said, here are other issues as well, but again, because time is limited, but if you choose to talk about 1 or 2 issues, you're fine with that. But as long as you give them with the packet, with all the other issues in there. And for our young people, our young men here, I hope that you guys will go on the website and apply for the Senate page position. And again, I think also a lot of it's up to us as parents. As parents, as school administrators, as faith-based leaders, we need to set an example for our young people. I have 2 little girls, a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old, who both now say they want to be community activists for change, right? They want to be like their mother, So I think a lot of it is about, how do we, instill these values in our children? How do we encourage our children to participate? It's about the parents going on lobby day and taking the young people with them, right? It's about, school administrators saying, okay, you can have all Thursday off because I feel like, this is very important for you to be a part of. It's about the mosques. It's an advantage, exactly. It's about the mosque saying, we want our communities to be a part of this event. Because we want to show everybody, that we are active, but also, God forbid anything happens in the future, and the Muslim community is attacked again, are we going to go running then to our legislators? Say, come help me, come help me? Well, where have you been all 35 years and that you've been in the States? You haven't come to my office, and now you want my support. So we always take that into account as well. Is, in the future, God forbid anything happens and our community is attacked again, people are going to say, well, where were you before this incident happened? Or if anything happened, we have a lot of racial profiling, in the Muslim community. We have a lot of Muslims who are, the civil rights are being violated. A lot of women who their hijabs are being pulled off, We want to be a part of change, or we want to make change. That means we have to participate. And our young people, you have the obligation. It's on you in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years to continue doing this work. Because when we're older, we're not going to be as energetic as you are, right? We'll be working with you side by side, but it's going to be you doing these presentations. It's going to be you going to Springfield 3 days a week during session. It's going to be you going to Washington, D.C. to meet with, the president's staff, right? Because these issues are not going to go away unless we do something about them. Take it to your advantage. You have this provided to you. When I was in, middle school and high school, I didn't get an opportunity to go to Springfield and get the experience that Dana got. Being a Senate page, it's amazing. That's wonderful. You actually got to see exactly how things are done. You got to hear all the senators who are allowed to be very loud and yell at each other, which happens. I don't know, did you witness that, Dana? A lot of times when you're listening, on the speakers, you hear legislators yelling at each other while they're debating bills, But that's going to be up to you as young people to think about the future and how you're going to, make sure that